Welcome back to our channel, fellow GH addicts. Today is an absolutely wild day to be a fan, so grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive straight into the madness. The water of the Quartermain lake has barely settled, but the ripples are already turning into a massive tsunami. Drew Kane, fresh from a watery grave and months of chemical paralysis, is standing on his own 2 feet, looking at an empire ripe for the burning. The impossible choices have been made, the deal struck in the dark, and now, a seismic shift in momentum threatens to tear Port Charles. I cannot believe they actually did this. I mean, I am sitting here typing furiously late at night because my brain is just spinning out of control after watching the latest episode. I am literally vibrating with a mix of absolute shock, giddy excitement, and sheer frustration. And you all know me. I have been watching this show religiously since 2015, and I have seen some wild resurrections, crazy hostage situations, and epic revenge plots. But this is on a completely different level of soap opera perfection. Drew Kane just took Willow's deal, walked away scotangent free, and immediately pivoted to wage a scorched earth war on the Quartermains. Am I the only one who is screaming at their television right now? Let's just back up for a second because my mind is going a million miles an hour and I need to process. So, Willow Tate, our resident weeping angel, who was actually a total nightmare, finally got backed into a corner. Drew survives Nina pushing his wheelchair into the lake in a blind panic. Shout out to Gio Palmieri for the lifeguard save. Seriously, that kid deserves a medal for pulling off that dramatic rescue. And what does Willow do when a soaking wet, fully mobile Drew shows up in her darkened house? She panics. She trades an immediate divorce. The house, the money, everything, just for his silence. And Drew? He took the deal. He actually took the deal. But wait, I am getting ahead of myself. Because the second Drew secured his bag, his assets, and his freedom, he turned right around and marched over to the Quartermain. And what did he get for his miraculous recovery? A locked gate. Tracy Quartermain literally banned him from the property. Tracy looked him dead in the eye, surrounded by Ned, Olivia, and Danny, and said, "Nope, Drew on this property is not happening." And honestly, that was the exact moment Drew's revenge shifted from solely destroying Willow to burning down the entire Quartermain family. I know some people are loving this new, dark, vengeful Drew, but personally, I am terrified of what he is about to do. And yet, I absolutely cannot look away. I mean, think about the psychological torture this man has endured. He spent months locked inside his own body, drugged out of his mind on Jen Sidwell's paralytics, unable to move, unable to speak, just trapped behind his own eyes, while his wife paraded him around in a wheelchair and controlled every narrative about his health. Can we talk about how horrifying that is? He had to sit there and listen to every single conversation happening around him. He heard Willow plotting her escape. He heard Nina gloating. And most importantly, he heard Michael Corinthos. Michael, who arrogantly promised to make sure Scout and Aiden never even remember having a mother once Willow went to prison. Side note, the audacity of Michael, as always, is just staggering. Drew heard Nina gloating about how much Tracy would enjoy watching him get carted off to prison too. He heard all of it. Every single word was absorbed by a man who couldn't even blink to defend himself. So when Drew finally got his voice back, when the paralytic wore off and he finally stood up, he wasn't just mad at Willow. He was furious at the entire system that allowed this to happen to him. The Quartermains, who always protect their own and ice out the rest. Remember when they tried this with Edward back in the day? Remember when they tried to lock out other family members who didn't fit their perfect mold? Yeah, didn't work then either. You cannot just lock a Quartermain out of the estate and expect them to go quietly into the night. This family has never once won by locking. All they ever managed to do is change which Quartermain is furious. And right now, Drew is the most furious man in Port Charles. But here is the brilliant, twisted part of Drew's plan. He didn't go to the cops. He didn't blow up Willow's life the obvious way, which is what Trina and Kai Taylor were so perplexed by. He went straight to the Metro Court pool and got right into Brooklyn's face. He told her point blank that the Quartermains are going to lose everything by the time he is done. This was not an empty threat. People! He sounded like a man who had been rehearsing that exact line in his head for 80 straight days while staring at a wall. Why the Quartermains? Why not just destroy Willow and be done with it? Because Willow already gave him what he wanted from her, his freedom and his asset. She bought her own peace. But you know what she didn't do? She didn't negotiate on behalf of Michael. She didn't protect Brooklyn. She didn't protect Tracy. Willow saved her own skin and left her ex-husband's family completely exposed to a man with endless financial resources and a massive, festering grudge. It is so perfectly selfish of Willow, and it is going to cost the Quartermains dearly. And let's talk about the ultimate target. Deception. Oh my god. Deception is a sitting duck right now. The company is already a complete and utter mess. You've got Lucy Coe circling like a shark for a corporate takeover, bringing in Serena Baldwin as her heavy hitter to show off her sneaky side. You've got Tracy fighting tooth and nail to keep control, venting to Stella about how torturing Lucy is a perk. And then you have Michael Corinthos, who just bought Maxi's shares and is acting like a ruthless corporate raider, flexing his new power and completely confusing Jacinda in the process. Michael is sitting on a swing vote, acting like he owns the world, completely oblivious to the fact that Drew Kane is watching him from the shadows. A company that unstable doesn't need a criminal mastermind to topple it. It just needs one determined enemy with a fat bank account and a vendetta. Drew Kane currently qualifies as both. He has months of pent-up rage and nothing left to lose since Willow already took his marriage and his political career off the table. I mean, think about it. If Drew wants to hurt Michael and Brooklyn at the exact same time, deception is the perfect weapon. It threatens Michael's standing in the family and his new corporate toy, and it directly threatens Brooklyn's business and legacy. Drew doesn't even have to get his hands dirty. He could quietly fund Lucy Coe's takeover. He could pour millions into Serena Baldwin's legal maneuvers. He can fund whichever side of that corporate war does the most damage, and he will never leave a single face. I am sitting here imagining Michael's face when he realizes Drew outplayed him, and I am not going to lie, I am kind of here for it. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Do I actually want Drew to win? I hate what he is doing to Alexis and Scout. He marched right over to Alexis's house and aggressively asserted control over his daughter, proving he is as controlling as ever. Sam is dead, and Drew is acting like a toxic. Alexis was completely right to call him out and drop her supportive act. So, I don't want Drew to be the hero here. But do I want to see Michael and Tracy knock down a peg? Absolutely. Sometimes I contradict myself because I am just so emotional about these characters. I love Brooklyn, I really do. But she is currently hiding the fact that she was the hit-and-run driver who left Jordan and Curtis bleeding on Route 91, and she is actively framing Willow for it. Brooklyn is playing a very dangerous game, and she is so distracted by her hatred for Willow and her adoption drama with Chase and baby Phoebe that she is completely blind to Drew circling her family's company. She is standing at the pool yelling that Willow will get her claws into Chase over her dead body, while Drew is literally plotting to bankrupt. Drew Kane spent months being underestimated. Everyone looked at him in that wheelchair and thought he was handsome. Willow treated him like a problem to be managed. Nina treated him like a pawn. Michael treated him like a joke. They all miscalculated so badly. They thought paralysis meant powerlessness. But it didn't humble him. It sharpened him. It turned him into a weapon. And now, Tracy has handed him the final piece of the puzzle. By locking the gates to the Quartermain mansion, she gave him a clear boundary and a clear enemy. Tracy holds the deed because of Monica's will, so she legally has the right to bar him. But legally right and strategically smart are two very different things. Shutting out Alan's biological son because you're afraid of what he might do is the exact instinct that has torn this family apart for decades. I know some people are loving this, but personally, I am terrified for the fallout. Chase is going to get dragged into this. Jacinda is already frustrated with Michael playing the long game against Willow. Everything is interconnected. If Drew blows up deception, Michael's attention shifts. If Michael's attention shifts, Willow might actually get away with everything she has done, especially since that gloved figure stole the black box from Windermere, leaving Jack, Brennan, and Nina with absolutely no leverage over Drew. Wait, okay, back to the point. The point is the absolute sheer brilliance of Drew taking the... It is so cold. Turning Willow in would have been the obvious move. Handing her over to the PCPD or the WSB would have been tidy. But obvious has never been how this show operates. A quick arrest hands Willow a clean, contained consequence. Drew doesn't want clean. He wants her to suffer the way he suffered. By taking the deal, Drew lets Willow believe she is safe. He lets her unpack her bags, settle back into her life, and think she outsmarted him. He is using the very silence she weaponized against him to build a trap she cannot buy, charm, or lie her way out of. And while she is breathing a sigh of relief, he is systematically dismantling the family of the man she used to love. It is going to cost Willow everyone she has used along the way. Because when Michael realizes that Willow's deal is the reason Drew is tearing down deception, Michael is going to turn on her. Brooklyn is going to turn on her. The entire Quartermain family is going to realize that Willow bought her own safety by throwing them to the... I am just so invested in this. I can't sleep. The writers have set up a powder keg, and Drew Kane is holding the match. He survived a paralytic, a lake, and a marriage to Willow Tate. His reward was a locked gate. Now, poor Charles is going to find out what happens when a man who has lost everything decides to take everything in return. Honestly, I dread what this means for Scout. She is caught in the crossfire, just hoping Danny can be a bigger part of her life, while the adults tear each other apart. But as a fan of pure, unadulterated soap opera drama, I am popping the popcorn. Drew steamrolling Michael's corporate ambitions? Yes, please. Lucy Coe unknowingly acting as Drew's proxy in a hostile takeover? Bring it on. The Quartermains finally facing a threat from inside their own bloodline that they cannot just lock out? It is television gold. Will Drew's vengeance reduce deception to ashes, or will the Quartermains crush him first? Drop your wildest theories in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe.